Venom, a substance that frightens many, but at the same time fascinates numerous others. Think about it, an animal producing a substance designed for a specific purpose, whether it be defense, as with bees and wasps, competition, as with male platypus, or for prey capture, as with venomous snakes. We'll cover what is venom, what is poison, what's the difference between the two, how does each enter a target, and some examples of both venomous and poisonous animals. Click like and subscribe if you're not already, and let's get right into this. So what is venom? The definition of venom is a secretion produced in specialized cells in one animal. It's delivered to a target animal through the infliction of a wound that disrupts endophysiological or biochemical processes in the receiving animal to facilitate feeding, defense, or competition by the producing animal. In simpler terms, it's highly modified saliva produced by one animal that disrupts processes in another animal for feeding, defensive, or competitive purposes. This is achieved by inflicting a wound and injecting venom through a venom apparatus. What is poison? The definition is a defensive secretion passively delivered to a potential predator. What's the difference between poison and venom? If you're watching this, I take it you're already interested in snakes, so you may have heard of this saying, but if you haven't, a common saying people use to explain the difference between venomous versus poisonous is, if you bite it and you get sick, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you get sick, it's venomous. Let's elaborate on these differences more than this simple saying. Let's first mention a similarity between the two. Both venom and poison are toxins produced by organisms in nature. The difference between the two is the method of delivery. What do I mean by that? Venoms are toxins that are actively delivered to another organism by being injected via a bite or sting through a venom apparatus. Example of a venom apparatus are the fangs of a venomous snake or the stinger on a scorpion. Poisons, on the other hand, are toxins that are passively delivered by being swallowed, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. Poisons are very small molecules that can be absorbed through the skin or through ingestion, whereas venoms are large molecules that require a wound in order to enter the target. This is why you can drink venom, and as long as you have no cuts in your GI tract, you'll be okay. But you can't drink poison. To summarize and drive this point home, the difference between venom and poison is a method of delivery. Venom requires a wound, while poisons can pass through the skin without a wound. What are some examples of routes of exposure between venom and poison? Routes of exposure for poisons include inhalation, such as breathing in air, vapor, dust, or gases that are contaminated. Ingestion, swallowing food or drinking liquids or other substances that are contaminated. Dermal, which is skin contact with a poisonous substance which leads to absorption through the skin. Injection, exposed through a puncture with a contaminated needle or object. Venoms, on the other hand, toxins produced by one creature but have specific targets in another, so they're endophysiological molecules that have been adapted for exophysiological purposes. Endophysiological means active within the producing animal. Exophysiological means active outside the producing animal within the other creature, so they tend to be injected in concentrated form into the dermis, subcutaneous tissues, or other anatomical structures of the receiving organism. Venomous animals possess specialized venom delivery mechanisms such as a stinger or modified dentition such as fangs. Venom has evolved in both terrestrial and marine environments, both land and sea. Also, venom has evolved in a wide variety of animals, both predators and prey, and both vertebrates and invertebrates. What are vertebrates and invertebrates? Vertebrates are animals distinguished by the possession of a backbone or spinal column. That includes mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. Invertebrates are animals that lack a backbone, including arthropods, mollusks, and annelids. We'll start with examples of venomous invertebrates. These include arthropods, such as spiders, centipedes, scorpions, bees, and wasps. There are even venomous caterpillars and moths, some of which can be fatal to people. Other venomous invertebrates include jellyfish, sea urchins, cone snails, octopus, and many more. Moving on to venomous vertebrates. There are venomous fish, such as the well-known lionfish, stonefish, stingrays. But did you know that there's even a venomous shark? They deliver their venom through spines on their fins, and their venom is used for defense against potential predators. There are venomous mammals, such as shrews and the platypus. Male platypus have a venomous spur that they use for competition for breeding rights. The males will battle it out, stabbing each other with their venomous spur. Whoever wins gets the breeding right of the female platypus. But did you know there's a venomous primate? The adorable slow loris. Moving on to amphibians. There are 2 venomous frog species in Brazil. They have tiny spines around the crown of their skull, and upon impact, deliver venom into their target. And then there are venomous reptiles, such as lizards, the Gila monster, the beaded lizard, and a few species of monitor lizard, such as the Komodo dragon. Then, of course, venomous snakes. That's what we're here for, right? For the final portion of this topic, poisonous animals. Some of these are prey dependent on their poisons, which I'll explain shortly. There are poisonous insects and fish. There's also poisonous amphibians, such as salamanders and newts, frogs and toads. The poison dart frog is a perfect example of what I mentioned about being prey dependent on their poison. Poison dart frogs don't synthesize their own poisons. Instead, they eat poisonous arthropod prey, such as ants, centipedes, and mites. And then they sequester the chemicals from them into glands on their skin. The poison is now used for defense against potential predators. Due to this dependency on specific poisonous prey, poison dart frogs in captivity that aren't fed this diet are therefore not poisonous. There's also an invasive population of poison dart frogs on some islands in Hawaii as well. And these are also harmless since they don't have the poisonous prey available to them. The next poisonous animal is one that might surprise you. Poisonous birds. There are a few species that, similar to poison dart frogs, consume poisonous insects and even poisonous plants, sequestering that poison for defensive purposes. The main reason I've been going on about poisonous animals is because there is, in fact, a few species of poisonous snakes. The keelback snakes in Asia are both venomous and poisonous, once again being prey dependent, feeding on toads, sequestering that poison which goes into a nuchal gland located on their neck. The area on their neck where the gland is located is very colorful. This is in hopes that a predator will target this brightly colored area. To demonstrate how snakes use their venom for prey and not for people is this snake. Their venom is potentially fatal to humans, but they'll stick out their neck, not biting, trying to get you to go for their neck where the gland with the poison is located, relying on the poison for defense, not their venom. There are also some species of garter snake that are poisonous, being prey dependent on poisonous newts. I'm sure you can agree that venomous snakes are complex based on what we've covered so far. Now, as we go over snake fangs, which at face value may seem simple, we'll come to learn that they're no different and are much more intricate than meets the eye. We established that venom requires a wound to enter a target and that venomous animals accomplish this through the use of a venom apparatus. For venomous snakes, that'd be their modified teeth, known as fangs. We'll go over rear-fanged snakes and the 2 different types of front-fanged snakes. We're starting with Ecological dentition, which is Greek for a groove at the back. This type of fang refers to rear-fanged snakes. Some examples of rear-fanged snakes include hognose snakes, garter snakes, cat-eyed snakes, false water cobras, boom slings, and more. These fangs most likely differ from what you think of when picturing snake fangs. They aren't the long hypodermic needle-like fangs. Instead, these snakes have enlarged teeth near the back of their upper jaw. They typically have a groove that helps guide the venom down into their prey. The venom is secreted by a gland called the Duvernoy's gland. Due to this arrangement, rear-fanged snakes have to bite down far enough to penetrate prey with these fangs. At this point, they start to do a chewing behavior. The venom unloads onto their fangs, and whether it's a species with a groove or not, flows down into their prey. In the past, there was a misconception that all rear-fanged snakes were harmless, along with the combined misconception that they have to bite and chew in order to successfully envenomate had led to the death of a few herpetologists. Out of all the examples I gave of rear-fanged snakes, all are mildly venomous and not harmful to people, all except one, the boomslang. This is a species of snake in Africa and a great example of the fallacy I mentioned. Carl Schmidt, a herpetologist, was bitten by one. Believing that the venom of rear-fanged snakes weren't medically significant, he went on about his day. Then the symptoms hit. At this point, he took detailed notes of everything he was feeling up until he passed away. He was offered to be taken to the hospital at one point, but declined. He didn't want it to interfere with documenting his symptoms. After he had passed, doctors took notes as well. There's a video going over this whole event, journal entries and all, titled Diarrhea of a Snake Bite Death. Another species, the twig snake, had also led to the death of another herpetologist, once again believing that no rear-fanged snakes possessed venom that was medically significant. Although many rear-fanged snakes aren't dangerous to people, these are two examples of ones that are highly venomous. Let's move on to a more efficient venom delivery system compared to that of rear-fanged snakes, the front-fanged snakes. Neurotoxic dentition, which is Greek for a groove at the front. This type of dentition is possessed by elapids. Elapids are the family of snakes that include cobras, mambas, coral snakes, taipans, death adders, and many more. Their fangs are at the front of the mouth. They're very short and fixed. Fangs are covered by a layer of connective tissue referred to as the fang sheath, and due to how short elapid fangs are, they are completely covered by this tissue. When they are visible, sometimes there will be more than one fang on each side. The reason for this is because they're constantly replacing their teeth, having a backup ready to go. Think about it. How could they capture prey if they lose their ability to inject their venom? We've mentioned over and over that the purpose of venom in snakes is for prey capture. What I didn't mention is that there's an exception, that being spitting cobras. The spitting behavior is used for defense, and the amazing thing about spitting cobras is that they have further modifications to their fangs, such as the exit hole being smaller and rounder compared to non-spitting cobras. This increases the velocity and the accuracy of their spitting. Don't be mistaken though, spitting cobras still bite to inject venom to capture prey like any other venomous snake. It's time for Solenoglyphous dentition, which is Greek for a channel or pipe and a groove. These are the iconic fangs that'll come to most people's mind when thinking of snake fangs. The long, hinged, hypodermic needle-like fangs. These are possessed by vipers and are the most sophisticated of them all. Located, of course, at the front of their mouth on the upper jaw. They're hinged so that the fangs can be folded back parallel to the jaws when their mouth is closed. When striking, they are erected out. The fangs are hollow, which guides venom from the venom glands to the orifice near the base and out through the slit-like exit. The reason that there's a slit instead of just a hole being at the very tip is because that would decrease the sharpness as well as the strength of the tooth. Just like I mentioned with the elapids, these snakes will also regularly shed their fangs, having backups ready to replace the old one. There's a similar fang type that evolved again in a different group of snakes within the family Lamprophidae. This family includes a genus, Atractaspis, said all of those wrong, which contains a species known as a stiletto snake. These burrowing snakes are very unique. Their fangs swing out the side of their mouth, even while their mouths are completely closed. The reason for this adaptation is because they need to be able to capture prey effectively in the tight areas of these burrows. They may not be able to open their mouths to bite, hence the side-swinging fangs. How amazing is that? The venom delivery system of front-fanged snakes is much more efficient than that of rear-fanged snakes due to a combination of factors, such as the structure of the fangs themselves. Since front fangs are tubular in design, they comprise a completely enclosed venom system. Rear fangs, whether they possess the grooves or not, are part of an open venom system. Since the venom duct empties onto or above the rear fang, there's little to enclose the venom flow. Snake venoms are a complex mixture of proteins, peptides, enzymes, and other molecules that can have various effects on the body. The primary purpose of venom in snakes is to immobilize and aid in the digestion of prey. Although it has potential to be deadly to people, we aren't the intention. Due to that, as well as snakes being defensive animals instead of aggressive, a bite is extremely easy to avoid. Being aware of your surroundings, where you step and put your hands is one such way. Leaving them alone when you see one is the main way. No matter how vilified snakes are, many times when a bite occurs, it's usually due to the person messing with the snake. With defensive bites, there's a high likelihood of a dry bite as well, which means no venom injected. Broadly, snake venoms can be classified into 4 main types based on their effects: neurotoxic, hemotoxic, cytotoxic, and myotoxic venom. Neurotoxic venom, as the name suggests, primarily affects the nervous system. The venom contains proteins and enzymes that disrupt the normal function of nerve cells, preventing them from transmitting electrical signals properly. This can lead to symptoms like muscle paralysis, difficulty breathing, and heart failure. Neurotoxic venom typically affects the synapses or junctions between nerve cells, called neurons, where communication between nerves occurs. The venom may block the release of neurotransmitters or interfere with the function of receptors on the target cells. One of the main consequences of neurotoxic venom is muscle paralysis. This often starts with the muscles used for breathing. If left untreated, this can lead to respiratory failure. Other effects include drooping eyelids, loss of coordination, and difficulty swallowing. There are many snakes that possess neurotoxic venom. Many elapids, which is a family that contains snakes such as cobras, mambas, taipans, and more, are primarily neurotoxic. Typically snakes that prey on animals that require a fast-acting venom. An example of how much influence prey has on the venom of a snake is the southern Pacific rattlesnake. There are some individuals that have primarily hemotoxic venom, whereas others have primarily neurotoxic venom. Even though these southern Pacific rattlesnakes are feeding on identical prey items, there is a difference between them. Their environment, those that live on the desert floor, a more open habitat, have the hemotoxic venom. They can bite, inject their venom, and track down the prey with ease. Those in the rocky environments, if they bite, inject venom, and their prey is able to hide and then pass away, they gain no benefit if they're unable to feed. So they required the fast-acting neurotoxic venom. How amazing is that? That being said, there's other rattlesnake species that have primarily neurotoxic venom as well, such as the Mojave rattlesnake. Even some timber rattlesnakes, depending on where they live, have primarily neurotoxic venom, and there are other species as well. If a person is envenomated, the primary treatment is antivenom. It works by neutralizing the venom's effects. In addition to this, supportive care like mechanical ventilation may be needed to help the patient breathe until the venom's effects wear off. In essence, neurotoxic venom is an adaptation that allows certain snakes to immobilize and subdue their prey quickly, ensuring a successful capture and digestion. Hemotoxic venom primarily affects the blood and vascular system. This venom contains enzymes and proteins that disrupt the clotting process, damage blood vessels, and destroy tissues. This in turn can lead to internal bleeding. How this works to capture prey is a widespread systemic effects such as shock and organ failure. Other symptoms can include swelling and cell death at the bite site. The main components of hemotoxic venom include phospholipases, which break down cell membranes. This causes inflammation and tissue damage. Proteases, which are enzymes that can degrade proteins, which leads to abnormalities in blood clotting and vessel damage. Metalloproteinases, which are enzymes that can degrade the extracellular matrix. This would allow the venom to spread more easily through tissues. Hemotoxic venom is typically found in snakes such as vipers. One thing to note is that this is a generalization. Not only are there plenty of exceptions, as we learned during the neurotoxic venom section, but many snakes contain mixtures of different venom types. The primary treatment once again would involve the administration of antivenom, along with supportive care to control pain as well as other potential complications. Cytotoxic venom primarily targets and destroys cells, leading to significant tissue damage and necrosis, which is cell death, at the bite site. This venom is particularly damaging to tissues like skin, muscle, and fat. The effects can extend to deeper tissues depending on the severity of the envenomation. Key components of cytotoxic venom include phospholipases, which again are enzymes that break down cell membranes, causing the rupture of cells and inflammation at the bite site. Proteinases and metalloproteinases, which are enzymes that degrade proteins and extracellular matrix components, allowing the venom to spread and damage surrounding tissues more effectively. And nucleotidases, which are enzymes that can interfere with the functioning of DNA and RNA within cells, contributing to cell death. Local symptoms include swelling, bruising, severe pain at the bite site, and tissue necrosis. Tissue necrosis can result in long-lasting scarring and, in extreme cases, amputation. Snakes that possess cytotoxic venom include some elapids, such as spitting cobras. Others, such as kraits, have cytotoxic components as well, along with their primarily neurotoxins. Also, some vipers, such as the gaboon viper, possess cytotoxic venom. Treatment for cytotoxic envenomation include the use of antivenom. Also, care to the wound to manage the local effects. Severe cases may require surgical intervention to remove necrotic tissue. And finally, myotoxic venom, which is a type of venom that targets and damages muscle tissue. Key effects of the venom are muscle damage. Myotoxic venom contains enzymes and proteins that directly affect muscle fibers. This causes muscle cells to break down, resulting in inflammation, pain, and swelling at the bite site. Rhabdomyolysis is another effect. This is a serious condition where muscle tissue breaks down and releases its contents into the bloodstream. This can lead to kidney damage or even kidney failure. Weakness and paralysis can occur in some cases. The venom can cause weakness or paralysis of the muscles, making it difficult to move or breathe. This would depend on the muscles that are affected. The components of myotoxic venom are similar to what we've seen already. Phospholipases, which are enzymes that break down the cell membranes of muscle fibers. This contributes to the rupture and degradation of the muscle cells. Metalloproteinases, which are enzymes that degrade structural proteins in the extracellular matrix, causing the spread of venom through tissues and amplifying muscle damage. Proteinases, enzymes that break down muscle proteins, leading to further tissue breakdown and inflammation. Snakes that possess myotoxic components in their venom include various species of viper, including some rattlesnakes and bothrops, which are the lanceheads. Some elapids also have myotoxic components in their venom. Symptoms of an envenomation include severe pain, bruising, muscle weakness, necrosis, and in more severe cases, kidney failure. Treatment involves administration of antivenom to neutralize the venom and prevent further damage. Supportive care, such as surgical intervention to remove necrotic tissue, may be required. Also, intravenous fluids in order to prevent kidney failure and, in severe cases, dialysis. Venomous snakes are feared by many, and it's understandable due to the effects venom can have on the human body. But as mentioned time and time again in this video, the purpose of venom in snakes is for prey capture. Accidental bites do occur, but it's extremely rare. Most bites occur from people trying to mess with or harm snakes. As long as you leave them be, a bite is easily avoidable. Snakes are healers, and the benefits of venomous snakes is extensive, both from the prey they eat and the medications that are derived from snake venom itself. Venomous snakes play a role in limiting the spread of diseases in a few ways: the prey they eat and population control of those prey items. Most venomous snakes target prey such as small mammals, birds, and other animals that are carriers of diseases. Oftentimes, the diseases they carry can affect us as well, such as hantavirus. When a snake eats the diseased prey item, it doesn't spread to the snake itself. Therefore, the spread stops right then and there for that individual diseased animal. Taking it a step further, even if that particular prey item wasn't infected, the snake eliminated a potential host. Another factor is that oftentimes these prey items are covered in ticks. Ticks carry Lyme disease. When the snake eats their prey, they consume the ticks as well. Aside from this, the majority of their prey are also very destructive. Rodents, for example, can destroy property, chewing through almost any material. Once inside homes, they can destroy wires and much more. Even without entering homes, they can also wipe out entire crops. Snakes are our free pest control. To summarize, venomous snakes help stop the spread of disease by controlling the populations of disease-carrying animals, which in turn benefits us and the environment at large. As we move away from the natural benefits that venomous snakes provide, let's take a look at how we have used venom to create medications that treat various health conditions, as well as a vast potential that's still waiting to be discovered. Snake venom has been a source for drug design development due to its complex proteins and peptides that have therapeutic effects. Some key medicines derived from snake venom include captopril, which is one of the top 20 drugs of all time. It's used to treat high blood pressure and heart failure, and is derived from the venom of a South American pit viper, Bothrops jaraca. It's an ACE inhibitor, which works by blocking the angiotensin-converting enzyme, a substance that causes blood vessels to tighten. As a result, the blood vessels relax, lowering blood pressure and increasing the supply of blood and oxygen to the heart. eptifibatide or integralin, which is derived from the venom of the pygmy rattlesnake. It's an antiplatelet drug used to prevent blood clots during and after many heart-related conditions or procedures, such as unstable angina, a condition where the heart muscle doesn't receive enough blood flow. Also for patients with non-STEMI, which is a type of heart attack. The procedure in which this medication is used is for percutaneous coronary intervention, PCI, a medical procedure used to treat coronary artery disease. Both of these examples demonstrate how venom has been used in the treatment of serious health conditions. But that's not all. There are numerous others, as well as many that are still being studied, an example being contortrostatin, a protein found within copperhead venom, which has anti-cancer properties and shows great promise in inhibiting breast cancer growth and metastasis. Studies have shown contortrostatin inhibits the growth of breast cancer tumors by 70 to 80%. It also slows the growth of blood vessels that supply nutrients to the tumors, as well as reduce the spread of cancer cells to the lungs by 90%. These few examples don't even scratch the surface of all the medical potential that snake venom provides. The biodiscovery potential is beyond comprehension. These animals have saved more lives than they've ever harmed, and I hope this encourages you to research more on not only the medical aspect, but these amazing animals as a whole. I truly hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new from all that we've gone over. Hit the like button like a gaboon viper would strike its prey, and click subscribe if you aren't already. Big shout out to my channel members. If you'd like to support, become a channel member, get early access to videos, exclusive content, and a shout out at the end. Big shout out to my Patreon members as well. If you'd like to support me over there, you also get early access to videos, exclusive content, and a shout out at the end. And a big thank you to those that donate in other ways. Click the description, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and check out the Etsy page where I have some prints available.